Hi guys, it's Emma. This is Journal of a Piano Teacher. We are now on the first week of April. And we're back to normal lessons this week, normal routine. Everyone is back from spring break. I'm just trying to pull up my notes here. We're ramping up for the recital. I'm handing out all the music by the end of this week. Everyone had both their solos and their duets, so everyone's getting ready to start practicing and buckling down on some of that hard work. Let's see. This week, Eli was first. He comes on Mondays at 3. And we worked through his scales to start the lesson. He's picking up on those pretty quickly. We also picked a solo out of his lesson books. His quartet part, he's playing on piano 1 for Balloon Pop Polka. And he's coming along really nicely with his practice for that. And then we have Abby. She didn't come last week. As you might have listened to the last video I put out, she was unable to come. She just had a rough week and needed to take one more week off. So she's back now, and I gave her her duet. That duet, Riding on the Clouds, that I told you reminded her of a song that her mom used to sing to her when she was little. She was overjoyed that her duet partner chose that one as well. She chose a solo out of her regular lesson books, because that's the way we roll with the last recital. Everyone chooses a song to show from what they're learning from their lesson books, and they also choose a choice piece. Abby chose Ode to Joy. And then she chose I Just Can't Wait to Be King as her choice piece, but she won't get that till next week. She wants the recital to be on her birthday. Her birthday, I believe, is May 28th, which is a Friday. And the two dates I had down for the recital was May 29th, which is a Saturday, and June 5th, I believe, which it's not going to be May 29th because one of my students is unable to come, and that's Memorial Day weekend, which is a holiday, and lots of people go camping, so it's not a very good date for us to have the recital. So it looks like we're going to be having the recital on June 5th. Anyways, Abby wanted the recital to be on her birthday, and I kept telling her that it probably wouldn't be, in a nice way, so that she wouldn't have a meltdown. And then at 5 o'clock on Monday, I taught Benny. He seems to be practicing, but just he doesn't have quality practice, if that makes sense. My mom always says, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And he's just not dedicating time like he used to. He's saying that he's practicing and he's writing it down, but I don't see the proof of that as much. He did start learning his solo out of his lesson books, which happens to be for Elise, a simplified version. And he did work through that. I could tell he gave it a little bit of attention. He also started learning his duet. He's playing with Eli. And then at 6 o'clock, moved Pinky to Mondays at 6 o'clock. And I assigned her duet 2 weeks ago. She has yet to touch it. She hasn't worked on it at all, which I hope she will not put it off for very much longer because she has the harder part. So we were choosing out choice pieces this week, and I purchased 2 Disney books, so it's going to be a lot of Disney-based songs this year for the kids. She could not choose between Bare Necessities and song from Mary Poppins, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So she decided to call her mother during the lesson to help her decide which one to pick. Needless to say, she chose Bare Necessities. She has lost 2 of her books, her lesson books, over the last couple weeks. That's getting worrisome. She's not going to get anywhere if she can't find her books. Then we go to Rachel on Tuesday. Her lesson's at 2 o'clock. She's such a quick learner. She chose a jazzy type duet, and she's going to be playing with my sister. They're pretty good friends. We've known them for, 5 years now. And my sister and Rachel don't get to see much of each other. So this will be a fun project for them to learn. The biggest obstacle is going to be the fact that Rachel's lesson is on Tuesday, and my sister, who takes from my old piano teacher, also has her piano lesson on Tuesdays. So, yeah, we'll have to work out something. Everybody's lessons seem to be running late this week, just because we're choosing out recital music and it takes longer. I told my mom that I feel like my piano teacher just always in a rush. She always seems to be running with her pants on fire. And that's what I felt like this week. After Rachel was Helen, and I haven't seen her or her brother Ronny in 2 weeks, which is really tough with a beginner student to go so long without a lesson. They start to forget stuff, and she did practice, but she forgot a lot of the technique stuff we'd been working on, so we had to recap on that. She chose Beauty and the Beast for her solo choice piece, and then she chose one out of her books as well. I think it's called Dancing with Frankenstein. So she has all of her music picked out and is going to start working through that, hopefully. Then we have Joy, and we had, a few minute discussion on the recital and how she gets nervous. She said she gets more nervous with duets just because she feels like if she messes up, it's her responsibility, that she ruined the entire song. And I said, just remember, counting is so important with duets and to be able to get back on. And now that I think about the whole situation, I'm going to have to tell her a few stories of myself and my duet partners of old and how I overcame obstacles, and even during competitions had moments where we got completely set off. I have one specific story that I'm thinking of that I'm going to tell her next time I see her. One of my first years playing duets for competitions, and the book, when I went to turn the page, literally fell onto our hands, and we didn't stop. My duet partner, her name was Claire, managed to put the book back up on the stand, and I was still playing, and we just kept going. We didn't stop at all. We still received really high marks. It happened so fast. But the judges said that the people who came in before us, evidently the stand on the piano is a little weird, and the duet team before us also experienced the book falling on their hands, and the judge just had them start over because they couldn't seem to get back on. But those are some of the things you run into just with performing in general, and playing a duet to be able to get back on with someone else, knowing the rhythm is just so crucial to how it all works. Joy is still nailing her warm-ups. Her hand position is slightly improving. I can tell that her fingers are getting stronger, so that's really, really good. After Joy comes Ella, of course. She had another good lesson this week. We had some downtime for, about a month. But she's back to improving. Her counting has improved compared to last week. Her duet, she knew all the notes, but the timing and the rhythm was just so bad. And her grandma had said, she got everything else, and I just felt like that the rhythm wasn't as important. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm screaming in my head as a teacher, going, no, 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 no. If anything's going to go out the window, it should not be counting. Counting is, you can mess a student up if you just play notes off of a page without counting. That can mess them up. I've had students come to me from other teachers that didn't count and had no sense of rhythm. And I'll tell you, I had to take them back to base one, and it just completely screwed up their playing and their ability. And yeah, counting is important. Rhythm is important. Ella just finished her first set of books. Yay! She didn't seem as excited as most students, but with my history with her, I just know that, yeah, she's having a hard time loving piano. 'Cause, her mom is making her do it, and she doesn't like it, and she doesn't like the discipline, which is natural sometimes with students. She started into the new books, and I had to get her all hyped for the new books as we were finishing the old ones, so that she didn't have a little attitude problem. Get her all excited for the new books. Started the new books, and the first song she played out of them, she made it through the entire thing without me helping her much, which was a really good start to the books. I mean, it could have gone completely downhill with that first song. She could have been begrudging against these new books, but it went so well, and she's like, you know what? That wasn't that hard. I said, yeah, it wasn't hard. See, you know this stuff. It's intimidating starting new things. We chose her solo, and she is one of those children who will look at a piece and decide whether she wants it or not based on what it sounds like or whether she likes the song or not. No. She chooses based on whether she thinks it's too hard. And this is not a good thing. So I made her step away from the piano, and I said, listen to it. I want you to choose the song because you like it. I'm not going to play any songs for you that I don't think that you're going to be able to learn. I'm going to play songs for you that I think you can learn by the recital and you'll be really, really good at. So don't worry about how hard you think it is. Remember, we've got 8 weeks until the recital. So you've got time to learn this. And so that I could see the stress leave her a little bit, and she was able to choose out her solos, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure you'll hear them in the next couple weeks of what the titles are. Wednesday started with Mason, as always, and last week I mentioned that his hymn completely fell through, and that he had not been practicing it over spring break, and it sounded like he didn't even know it. But this week was better. I could tell he'd been going through it, and I assigned for him to learn the pedaling for this week's lesson. He's a little bit behind on learning Balloon Pop Polka, which is the quartet, which I was not expecting for him to procrastinate that, just because he's just such a perfectionist when it comes to playing with other people. So yikes on that. Hopefully he'll get that put together. He wants to learn Pride and Prejudice, the Pride and Prejudice theme for the recital. So I've got to pull that out. I wasn't able to get to that this week. I don't know if it's going to be too hard for him. So we did choose a backup piece. And then, of course, Marty was next. And I can tell he practiced this week. So I was pleased. He's still forgetting to practice his scales. So we're working on that. I keep telling him he needs to read his assignment book because everything's written down. He's more prepared for the quartet, balloon, pop, polka, than all three of the others combined. He's basically learned the entire piece. He's just got a couple counting things to work on. And he picked his solo really, really quickly. I know what kind of music he likes, and I know where his level is, and I know where his performing level is, which is different. Most students, I will hand them a more challenging piece than their current level because it just takes them so long to learn it for the recital because there's just so many weeks. I want it to be challenging. I don't want it to be something easy that they're going to learn in 2 weeks and then get really, really bored of. But for Marty, he's a little bit different because he has such performing anxiety. I allow him to choose a song at his level or even a little bit lower, just because when he gets up there, it's not muscle memory for him. It's still, he has to think consciously about every single note. And then you add the pressure to that, and it's just a nightmare for this poor kiddo. So I know what kind of songs he likes. And I showed him the Disney books, and he's like, yeah, I don't want, do you have something different from Disney? I said, absolutely, I have a few other things that we can look at. And he's like, okay, let's do that. I said, but first, I want to play this song for you that nobody's picked yet, and it's really, really pretty. I want you to hear it. I'm surprised no one's picked it. And I was thinking in the back of my head, even if he doesn't know this movie or this Disney song, it's a really pretty song, and he likes this style. So I sat down, and I played through it for him, and he's like, yep, I want that one. I said, you don't want to hear any others? Nope. And it wasn't because he doesn't like to choose. It was actually because he really, really liked it. He asked me if he could play through it, and I'm not giving them their copies till next week because I have no way to print it for them. So I said, well, why not? And I said it in front of him. I was kind of shocked he asked to play it. That shows me he actually liked the song. He wasn't faking it. So I was pleased with that. Wednesday night, I taught Marta. She had soccer this week. So she didn't practice much. She didn't think she practiced much. Going back to the whole perfect practice makes perfect. You can practice every day of the week for 30 minutes and still be a terrible pianist. It's all about the quality of the practice. And Marta told me she had practiced that day and one other time this week. So she practiced twice this week, and not for very long, but she went through the hard stuff. She tackled the harder stuff. And she broke it all down. I can tell that she did, which is shocking for a brand new student to be able to do that, and considering her age. She passed almost all her stuff, so I was very proud of her. She learned the first page of her duet. She's struggling putting hands together because she's brand new. I mean, she barely can, she's not even reading notes on the staff yet. We haven't even gotten there. And I gave her this duet and wrote down all the letter names and put all the counting in there, basically interpreting everything on the piece to a language she understands. And because that's just what I had to do. Her partner is a little bit further above her, so she knows how to read all those notes. But I had to translate the duet for Marta to learn. I'm sure by the time the recital rolls around, she'll understand all the notes, but right now she doesn't, so it's a little bit above her level, which is fine. Going back to her struggling with her hands being put together, she hasn't learned how to do that yet, really. So that was something we worked through. It seems like she understood the patterns and she actually knew the music. She just was struggling with the technique of it all. She chose her choice piece this week. She chose Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from Mary Poppins for the recital, and it was so cute. We spent probably the last 4 minutes before her mom came to pick her up practicing saying the title. It was adorable. Then I taught Ronny. He was the final student of the night, and I don't actually have notes on him at the moment being, because I kind of spaced him. I don't know why. But it was nice to have him back. He's working through his quartet, struggling a little bit. He wanted to choose this one choice piece that was way above his level. I wasn't thinking when I sat down and played it. I'm like, this one hasn't been chosen yet. And I played it, and he's like, yeah, that one. And then I was like, wait a second, this is probably 3 levels above where you are. And so I had to find another song to redeem the one that he wanted. I felt badly, but we found one that was actually kind of similar, and it's really, really pretty. It's not a Disney song. It's just out of one of my books. It's called The Voyage of Columbus, and he seemed excited about that. And we chose a song out of his lesson books called A Crawling Spider, which I think he'll have a lot of fun with that. And we are still working on how to break down a piece when you're having trouble with a certain section. Because he kind of just I can tell, he just lets himself play. He doesn't think as consciously as he needs to. So we're working on breaking down the piece so that he can do that himself at home and be more successful that way. As I mentioned before, the recital date looks like it's going to be June 5th. I believe that's a Saturday. And I'm just trying to work out a few details with one of the parents. They have an event on that day, but if we do it at a certain time, she said they'll be able to do it. It was either do it that way or this student wouldn't be able to show up, and I want her there because she has a duet partner. So we're trying to work out those fine-tooth details. Anyway, I guess that's all for now. Hope you have a great week. Go and enjoy some music, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.